In the following 5 minutes, I will be explaining how you can instantly make your artwork more money with a trick that doesn't cost you any money, doesn't cost you, or cost you a little bit of time, but not really that much. One of the easiest tricks in the books. Now, even though it's one of the easiest tricks, most artists are not using it. If you go to artist websites, if you go to social media profiles of artists, Instagram profiles, whatever, even artists who have some following, like 10k, 20, 30k following, even a lot of YouTube stars with 100k or 200k, and they don't do this. They don't do this. If you go to Art Basel, you will see every single one of them doing that. You will see every top gallery doing that. You will see everyone in the art game doing that. Yet, artists themselves don't really tend to do this. So if you don't have 5 minutes out of your day to know this, to learn this, and to then increase your art game, then let's face it, you have a problem. Okay, like if that's too much, then it's not gonna work for you anyway. Now let's dive in immediately. Let's take the following example. So you have an artwork. You have two artworks actually, and you like both of those artworks, and they both cost the same amount of money. Let's say they both cost 2,000 euro. And about one work, you know everything. You know the date, you know the artist, you know a little background story, you know stuff about the artwork. And the other artwork you don't know anything about. Which one, when you like them equally, are you most likely to buy? The one that you know stuff about. The one that you have that background story of. And so information is value on itself. Providing that information, providing more information about your artwork literally increases the value of your artwork by itself. And so many artists are not really doing that. So many artists are not providing that information. When you buy an artwork of them, they are not providing that information. When you don't buy an artwork of them, you just see it on their website or on their social media page, they don't provide that information. Especially on social media, it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to do that. If you go to my TikToks or whatever, you will see that not only of the art, but you will also just learn stuff about myself. And so that increases the value of your art by itself automatically. It doesn't cost you anything. Like it's one of the easiest tricks in the books out of the box that you can use. Now, how does that look? Because obviously there are several ways, and just posting stuff on social media is not really complete. It's not enough, or it is already better than most, but you can of course do more. So let's cover some of the ways that you can actually use this into your daily practice in a way that makes a lot of sense. Because some of you don't even have social media and are not planning to install any social media profiles anytime soon, and that's okay. You can be an artist without social media still in these times. A lot of people say otherwise. That's just BS. You can. But you cannot make art and sell art without providing information, valuable information about your artworks to potential customers. That's not going to work. So besides social media stuff, website stuff, how can you do this? What should you provide? What type of information should you provide? Now obviously there's the art specific basics, like signature, title, date. Like those are just common things. Some artwork doesn't have a date on it or a signature or whatever. Like those will be worth way less. That's just the way it is. Like I could make a whole new video about that and explain that, but we're not going to do that. Then there's the little bit more deeper info, the actual explanation that you're going to provide. Now, if you as an artist provide an explanation about your work, then that traditionally will increase the value more than third-party explanation. And if that third-party explanation is of a famous source, some kind of famous critic or whatever, like that will also increase the value, obviously. But traditionally speaking, artist descriptions are more rare than critic description, especially of art that is of some quality and has some reach going on, has some fan base going on. There's always going to be like more than enough people speaking about something that is famous, that is at that particular moment in the attention span of people, than the create. Like there's only one creator, like that's just obvious math. Now in that explanation, what do you want to put in there? You want to, of course, contextualize it. You want to speak about where it was made, how it was made, what you were thinking about when you were making it, and what it actually is, what was the process, what like where you also details, where you're listening to particular songs, where you inspired by a particular book at that moment that you were reading while you were making that artwork, etc., etc. Like the more contextualization that you give, the more people can relate to that artwork. And obviously, as already explained, the more information is provided, the more that people will be attracted to it, the more they can justify the price in their head, which increases the value by itself. Now all of these contextualizations can go deep and wide. They can go wide. This can be you going into a monastery type of retreat for 2 weeks and coming out of that and then making that artwork. Like you might not be consciously inspired by it in a way, like whatever, but unconsciously you are. You just made it 2 days after. Obviously that artwork is gonna have some kind of different feel to it. Like mentioning that matters. And I'm not saying to you that you should invent the storyline. Like, wow, now I need this context. I'm not really good with stories. Now I have to invent the storyline. No, this is not about inventing, pretending stuff. Like this is about describing what happened. And this can be just a couple of lines. Like you don't have to write a book. Just a couple of sentences is more than enough. But make sure that you contextualize it. It can be a trip to China, where you saw some really fancy Chinese brushes or whatever, like let me just, whatever, standing here, you see some fancy brushes, you think, wow, that's amazing. Now I want to do some calligraphy type of stuff in my work, like whatever. Just something as simple as that. So I'm not selling any of these brushes, obviously. That's just, this is a coincidence. I do like Chinese brushes. But anyway, you want to document it as well. So you can explain it. That's one thing. You want to document what happened with the artwork. Obviously, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever years from now, if there are two artworks, they're of the same quality, and one of your artworks went to an exhibition or won a particular prize or was covered in some kind of magazine where an amazing critic wrote stuff about it that happened just now to become one of the best critics or whatever, like those things matter. And that artwork will therefore be worth more than that other artwork that is of the same quality. And so you want to document that. You want to provide that with your artwork. If somebody buys your artwork, don't just put a certificate of authenticity in there. No, just provide on a different sheet that is equally valuable. That is also quality, fancy paper, museum, archival type of paper, and list everything there. Everything that you can, not just the explanation, but the documentation of that particular series of artworks or that particular artwork on itself. Document it all on there. And with this simple trick, you will come over as an artist that should be taken way more seriously from the start, right there. If the majority of artists are just giving an artwork and some lousy certificate of authenticity, then that is an opportunity for you to stand out with those documents. And so obviously you want to do a good job there. So we've mentioned a lot, and everything has to do with communication. Everything has to do with information about your art. And probably you are now thinking about written documentation or perhaps even some video format on social media, stuff like that. But here's how, this is what we have. This is what we have about other artists from the past, 50 years ago, 60, 70, whatever. This is what we have about their artwork. One thing we have today that we didn't have 50 years, we kind of had that, but we didn't really, is the availability of video, of this. This video format is amazing, and there is not a lot of art out there where the artist explains something about the piece, something about the artwork in video format that we can carry on with us and pass on. Surely that will increase the value of your art. Of course it will. Of course it will. If you go 50, 40, whatever years from now, I can promise you the majority of art that will be valuable will not have an artist talking about his artwork. How cool would it be if we would have Da Vinci talking about his own artwork in a video? That would be massive. Of course, that work, where he would have done that once or twice or whatever, would be worth more than his other pieces, of course. Because somehow we think at least that the artist is valuing that particular work or those particular works where he did that for more than the other works. And even if you do it with all your works, it will also come over as this artist valued his own work or this particular work more than this other artist because this other artist didn't provided that, etc., etc., etc. And so that matters, That once was the case with the certificate of authenticity as well. At some point, nobody was doing that, and then suddenly somebody was doing that, and quickly all of them were suddenly doing that. Why? Because that small certificate that we know that it's so easy to make, suddenly somehow makes it more valuable. It's some kind of competitive market advantage. Video format, videos about work will be a competitive market advantage for that art towards the future. And so if you're a collector as well, you can just ask that. Hey, I would really appreciate it if you could record a small video, 30 seconds, you explaining some stuff or a minute about that particular piece. Don't prepare it, I would appreciate that for my own documentation, for my own archive, whatever. Artists will do that for you, and that on itself will increase the value about a particular piece. This is massive, especially if the artist is somebody who doesn't really naturally do that or does that, and you are the only collector who has that extra documentation about that particular piece of this artist, then that matters a lot. What I want you to do now, which is going to be very powerful for you, very beneficial for you, is to combine this video with another video on how to price your art. I have several of them. One that I think is going to be very powerful for you is how to price in order to attract galleries. That's really the fundamental, basic mindset when it comes to pricing your art. And if you want a longer video than that, also to do it with value, with sales, with how to make more money from your art, basically, I would recommend this one, how to sell art on Instagram. It's 30 minutes long, so only if you have time at this moment. But both of them are going to be really good complement to this video. Subscribe, make 100 YouTube profiles so that you can use all those profiles to comment underneath this video so we can, I don't know, algorithm stuff. And I hope to see you next time somewhere soon. I wish you the best. Ciao, ciao.